Good evening, good evening, good evening. Greetings, greetings. This is your brother Chief Flying Eagle. What's going on? Lord of Matakan, what the deal is, the Black Identity Slayer. Let's get into this. All right, I'm gonna do a lesson on here for those of you who catch the live. Man, beautiful. If you don't catch the live, then you'll catch the replay. Okay. With that being said, let me just make my disclaimer. First things first. By no means my videos are to promote, any hate. They're strictly for knowledge, educational purposes. The reason why I'm doing that is because I know the detriments of a people identifying as black. And a lot of people may take this out of context, you know what I mean? But it's okay because a lot of people don't realize that the good that you are doing until it's too late. You dig? So with that being said, I'm gonna break a few things down so you are able to see, what truly happened to our people, the hijack, what took place, and the only way to really learn the truth and get to the truth is to get out of your emotions. You know what I mean? You have to get out of your emotions, like seriously. And look at the laws, all right? Look at what these things mean. And that's the goal. So, with that being said, let's dive into this. Okay? I'm gonna let you once again, for those who missed the live, you'll catch the replay. All right. Now there's a brother on TikTok. He's from the Muskogee Creek Nation, and he identifies as a black native. Okay. I don't know if the brother knows, or these people, peace and love. I don't know if these people know the detriments of calling themselves black, right? But in my opinion, a lot of people may see this as progress, right? Them being federally recognized, but no, you are taking our people backwards. You feel me? And me personally, I reached out to the brother. All right, I sent him a message on TikTok, a DM, and I said, "Hey, brother, I would like to speak to you. You know what I mean? I'm coming to you with all due respect. I see you doing your lives, and I didn't want to approach you on your lives. So that's how grown men supposed to do things, or just grown people." All right. He never responded. All right, cool. Another 3 weeks or a month later, I sent another message, didn't respond. But the brother is forever on Facebook promoting his business. And I get it. I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to knock your hustle. No. Because you have your website, you have a lot of pictures you got from the internet, different places, and you created your archive. And you charge people $15 a month to get into those archives. You know what I mean? Do you? Then you're doing genealogy for $1,400. Do you? That's your hustle. I get it, right? And you're also, assuming, or you're alluding to, you could show people how to become federally recognized if they trace their genealogy. All right, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. And like I said, I tell people, you don't need to pay nobody $1,500, $1,400, $1,000 to do your genealogy. You see what I'm saying? You don't have to do that. I literally gave y'all a free guide to that. You know what I mean? I did. Posted the videos and everything. I have a book literally for $12, $13, where you could do it teaches you how to do your genealogy. You feel me? So I tell people, man, a lot of times people just like to learn things the hard way. All right. That's just the fact. Hey, greetings. Welcome to the build. What's going on? What's going on, Chief Finesse? What the deal is. All right. So a lot of people just like learning things the hard way. And it's truly unfortunate. You did. Because here I am, I'm giving people teaching them how to do the genealogy literally for practically free. But people would rather pay 1,200, 1,300, 1,400 to do genealogy when I give you the blueprint, right? That's number one. And you cannot just how many tribes, okay, that are not federally recognized, and they have been waiting for 20 something years, even 30 something years to get federally recognized. Do you think that this dude could teach you how to do your genealogy and all of a sudden you become federally recognized? So people don't realize the hustle. And I'm not here to once again knock the brother. That's not what I'm doing. I'm teaching people the truth so they don't end up in situations. You feel me? End up in situations. So when the Muskogee Creek Indians got federally recognized, they don't realize that was not a good thing. And that's what I'm going to break down. You feel me? That's what I'm going to break down. So please do not look at this as an attack, because I know how some of you Negroes do. Okay? I know how some of y'all do. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Welcome to the build. I know how some of you Negroes do. A lot of you have no coof. A lot of you have no integrity. And you will twist this message and look at it like as I was attacking the brother when I'm actually the one telling you the truth. You feel me? So we're not going to get into that. With that being said, I'm going to play a video of a live that he had. Okay. And that's a video that's going all over Facebook. It's been promoted on Facebook. So I didn't go to his page and take his video. It came across my timeline on Facebook, and I listened to the video, and it was very interesting to me. Very, very interesting. So I'm going to share the video with you guys. And then when I'm done, I'm going to critique the video and analyze everything that he said. Also, the woman that called onto his show. And we're going to break that down. And I'm going to explain to you exactly what's going on. Now, once that's done, I'm going to get into a lesson that I prepared. All right. Going to the whole Muskogee Creek background when they signed that treaty, or the treaty they had in 1866 with the Creek Nation. All right. So we're going to get into that. I'm going to break some things down, and hopefully when I'm done, you see my true intent is not to cause harm to anybody, but it's to actually teach the truth to avoid you from causing yourself harm. Okay. Just wanted to point that out. So let's go. Let me go ahead and share my screen right now, and we're going to go to the video. Share my screen. All right, let's go to Facebook. And we're going to let the video play in its entirety. All right. And then I'm going to play it again. All right, here we go.
Because she says she's indigenous because she has a card. And I'm saying, oh.
Well, I want to take it from the beginning. All right, let me see if I could come down here.
They stole.
I want to take it from the beginning. Give me a second. Please give me a second. Where is all the way from the beginning? That's what I want to do. Bring that down. Here we go. All right, cool. If I do it that way, then I have more real estate. So it's still not showing. All right, cool. Here we go. All right, that's what I wanted to do. All right, I'm going to take it all the way to the beginning.
You might.
I just said hello, just one of my clans. I am Danae. I'm also Tewa. I'm enrolled member of the federally recognized tribe Dene, the Navajo Nation. So I'm trying to understand.
Respectfully, I asked where you're calling in from. I didn't ask for your tribal affiliation yet. So where are you calling in from?
Well, I am proud to be Dene. So that is how we introduce ourselves when we're indigenous native to this.
Okay, ma'am. I got a lot of people backstage. We can't do the long-winded answers. This is normally a question and answer. Where are you calling in from? Arizona, Nevada, New Mexico, Arkansas, Oklahoma. See how that works? Go ahead and unmute yourself and try it again. Where are you calling in from? Dene Indian.
I am from New Mexico, the Navajo Reservation.
Thank you. Thank you. New Mexico, Navajo Reservation. Now you have the floor. Go ahead. What's on your mind?
So I'm just trying to understand why you guys can't understand that you're not from here. You guys were brought here in what, 1619?
Is that a question or is that a statement?
I'm just letting you know.
So that's a statement.
Well, it could be either.
Okay, well, keep on providing statements. I mean,
so what,
we're just wondering.
Where are your ancestors from?
Okay, so you have a question. Where are my ancestors from? Well, this is how we're going to do it because we have so many people watching, right? Kat, you came up here to say that you're a member of the Navajo Oneida Nation, the reservation, da-da-da-da-da. You came up here saying that we're not indigenous, we're from Africa, brought here in the 1600s. Well, Kat, I've got a question for you. What would you say if I said that you're wrong and you're not indigenous to America and that you and your people are really Asiatic migrants. What would you say if I said basically the same thing to you guys, but not that you were shipped here as slaves, but that you voluntarily migrated across the Bering Strait after the last ice age? What would your response to that be?
That's all been debunked.
Okay, wait. You would say that's all been debunked. What? So time out.
Have you not studied
Ma'am, when I put you on mute, you don't take yourself off until I tell you to. That's the way it works. So when you say that's all been debunked, I don't think that would truly be your answer. I mean, if you're claiming that you're a member of some Navajo nation and someone like me came along and said, no, you're lying, what would your response be? How would you prove that you're really a member of this Navajo nation? Go ahead and unmute yourself.
So again, the Bering Strait has been debunked.
Again, my very specific question is, how can you prove that you are from the Navajo Nation? Go ahead. Unmute yourself. Okay, guys, you can't find the mute button.
That's not true. I'm trying to find my CIB, Goofy.
Okay, there you go. So you would prove to us,
so rude?
you would prove to us, because ma'am, nobody cares about you, nobody asked you to join, and you're joining into our discussion to try to dictate our heritage to us. If anybody's rude, it's you, Plains Indian girl. It's you. So again, guys, my question to her is, how do you prove that you're a member of the Navajo Nation? And she says, my CBID card. Is that right, ma'am? That's how you can prove it?
It's a CIB. It's a Certificate of Indian Blood. Ma'am. So you're saying that you would prove that you're a member of this nation by a card, yes or no? You pretendians are sad.
So you can't answer a yes or no question. I'll try again. I'll try again with the Navajo girl starving on the reservation, spending her free time to call into us. Are you saying your proof of your heritage is a card, yes or no? Is that your proof?
That is our federal.
Okay, so that's your federal. Okay, got it. Now, here's the funny thing, guys. Here's the really, really funny, strange thing. She's telling us that she's indigenous. She's a member of the Navajo Nation because she has a federal card. And she's telling me that me and my people are not indigenous. Well, guess what, dumbass? I also have a federal tribal citizenship card. So now we're in some strange territory, guys. Now we're in some strange territory because she says she's indigenous because she has a card. And I'm saying I'm indigenous and I also have a federal card. So what the fuck are we up here talking about? Dumbass, imbecilic Navajo Nation girl. Your proof of your indigeneity is a federal card. I got that same fucking card, but you want to get up here and say that we're from Africans that got shipped here in the 1600s. See what we're dealing with these nonsensical Plains natives? Ma'am, you're in New Mexico. The Navajo ain't done shit. If you were really indigenous to America, dumbass, your people wouldn't have settled in the fucking deserted wasteland of this continent. If your people were indigenous to this hemisphere, you would settle in the prime real estate, which is where our ancestors come from, the Southeast, the Caribbean, Central America, South America, where we have rivers and river tributary systems and waterfalls and woods and we do agriculture and planting and civilization. If your people were indigenous and you were here first, you would not have settled in the most desolate, barren part of the country. Dumbass. But you thought I didn't know geography? Okay. All right. Guys, this is a simple exercise in critical thought. If you're the first one in this landmass and you get to choose to live anywhere in the world, wouldn't you want to choose, metaphorically speaking, wouldn't you want to choose Beverly Hills instead of the damn projects? Man, your people live in the projects as far as geography is concerned. Don't nothing grow out there. Don't nothing pop off out there. Y'all were living hand to mouth, and you didn't even have any European contact until the last stage of westward expansion, late 1800s, early 1900s. When them white folks got in their wagons to go to the Oregon Trail and the California Gold Rush, y'all got European contact last. And in your spare time, instead of fixing the issues on your res, you want to call in and try to tell us we're not indigenous when you're dealing with a member of a federally recognized tribe. Oh, Lord, I guess she didn't know who she was talking to, guys. I guess she thought I was just some black person up here claiming to be indigenous and didn't have the tribal citizenship to back it. All right.
That's interesting. So what we're going to do now,
You might.
I'm going to take this from the top and I'm going to break this down. Okay? First things first, let us notice something here. Okay? He's telling her that she's not indigenous, and she's telling him he's not indigenous. So how do they both prove their point? She said she has a federally recognized card as proof as her indigeneity. He's saying the same thing as well. Okay? So here's the thing about it, right? They are both wrong and they are both right. And what we're going to do tonight, my brothers and sisters, is this. We are going to take all the emotions out of this and let me teach y'all like I always do. You feel me? And that's why our people get caught up in all this different school of thoughts. You dig? That's what happens because a lot of people don't do that extreme, detailed research. They don't look at law. They don't look at the treaties. And then they strictly do things out of emotions. Just like how a lot of people come into my comments with emotions. Your emotions don't change law. Your emotions don't change the facts. That's why I subscribe to documentation. Because documentation beats conversation. Whenever I come to you, know I'm coming with substance. You feel me? Let's listen to that again. And I'm gonna literally tear this whole thing apart on both sides of their argument. Check it out.
I just said hello, just one of my clans. I am Danae. I'm also Tewa. I'm enrolled member of the federally recognized tribe Dene, the Navajo Nation. So I'm trying to understand.
Respectfully, I asked where you're calling in from. I didn't ask for your tribal affiliation yet. So where are you calling in from?
Well, I am proud to be Dene. So that is how we introduce ourselves when we're indigenous native to this.
Okay, ma'am. I got a lot of people backstage. We can't do the long-winded answers.
You heard what she said, right? Indigenous native to the land. Pay attention. All right? Pay attention. You see, I tell people like this. Listening is not the skill. Anyone could listen to anything. You know what the real skill is? Hearing. Because most people listen and they don't hear. That's why the good book, the bad book, whichever way you want to look at it, it says, those who have eyes, let them see, and ears, let them hear. They could listen a lot of times, but they don't hear. You feel me? They have eyes, but they just can't see. All right. I'm hearing the conversation. Pay attention.
This is normally a question and answer. Where are you calling in from? Arizona, Nevada, New Mexico, Arkansas, Oklahoma. See how that works? Go ahead and unmute yourself and try it again. Where are you calling in from? Dene Indian.
I am from New Mexico, the Navajo Reservation.
Thank you. Thank you. New Mexico, Navajo Reservation. Now you have the floor. Go ahead. What's on your mind?
So I'm just trying to understand why you guys can't understand that you're not from here. You guys were brought here in what, 1619?
Is that a question?
All right, so we're going to pause here. Guess what? She's absolutely correct. She's absolutely correct when she said you guys are not from here. Weren't you brought here in 1619? Some people may say 1524. The bottom line is she is correct. But you may ask, well, Chief, what you mean? I thought we was the original people. Yes, we are the original people. But the question remains, who is we? Who is we? And that's why I tell people the way I teach and the things I do, you will not hear it from anybody. So I'm going to repeat that again. She's correct when she says you guys are not from here. From a lawful, legal, codes and statute and treaty perspective. Well, Chief, what you mean? I thought we were the American Indians. Yes, we are. But the we that she's talking about, she's referring to black natives because he called himself a black native. You see the problem with that word black? And that's what I want my people to really get. You see, that indoctrination and that spell and that curse, it has been literally planted in the minds and soul of our people. They just can't let it go. You see, you could call yourself anything, but guess what? As long as you add the word black to it, it changes the dynamics of what you think you are. You could be an angel from heaven. If you say you're a black angel, guess what? Within law, it puts you in Africa. You're an African. So you're literally an African angel who's now living in heaven. Okay? If you're from hell and you say, man, I'm from hell. I'm a proud citizen of hell. And then you turn around and said, I'm black in hell. Guess what? You're an African that was put in hell. Do y'all get it now? Because that's what black means in law, people. How is this so hard for my people to comprehend? I mean, I'm just saying. And I'm not here barking at nobody. I just want to get the point across. So I'm going to try to calm down because the passion in me, it always seemed like I'm getting aggressive. So I have to remind myself to kind of slow down a little bit. But I'm a fire sign. I'm March 23rd, the beginning of the house. I'm really like literally, I'm just saying, right? So just want to make this disclaimer. I'm not shouting at anybody. I'm not talking at anybody. It's just my passion. Because like I said, I've been doing this for a while, and you would think at some point, like people would again look at their skin and be like, hold up, my skin is brown. Look at this individual. Their skin is pale or pink. Why are we calling them white? And why are we calling ourselves black? Maybe there is something more to it than that. It is much as whatever the situation is, regardless of whom is teaching it, maybe I don't like them. Maybe I don't care for them. But let me just go look at this. Let me just go, you know what? Let me just look at this for myself and look into that. So the woman is absolutely correct. She is correct. You guys are not from here. You guys came here. She said 1619. Some people say 1607. And there's a certain group that says 1524. But guess what? The bottom line is you came. So if you came, you cannot be an American Indian. If you came, you cannot be an original indigenous man or woman. You are native. So we have two natives telling each other they're not natives. We have two natives telling each other they're not indigenous. We have two indigenous people telling each other they're not indigenous. The question remains, which indigenous are they talking about? You see the difference? And we're going to get into that. Let's listen some more.
Is that a statement?
I'm just letting you know.
So that's a statement.
Well, it could be either.
Okay, well, keep on providing statements. I mean,
So what,
we're just wondering.
Where are your ancestors from?
Okay, so you have a question. Where are my ancestors from? Well, this is how we're going to do it because we have.
Here's the thing. Now he's evading the question, right? If she asks you the same way you asked her where she's from, although she was, she was going with the reservation thing and didn't want to say what state, then you broke it down and she said New Mexico. It's a very simple question. Where is your ancestors from? If somebody were to ask me that question, I would say America. Because America is a continent. My ancestors are from North America. But he didn't say that, evading the question. You see what I'm saying? When you listen to hear, it's a whole different story in breaking down what people are saying. Okay? Let's listen some more. So he didn't answer the question.
We have so many people watching, right? Kat, you came up here to say that you're a member of the Navajo, Oneida Nation, the reservation, da-da-da-da-da. You came up here saying that we're not indigenous, we're from Africa, brought here in the 1600s. Well, Kat, I've got a question for you. What would you say if I said that you're wrong and you're not indigenous to America and that you and your people are really Asiatic migrants. What would you say if I said basically the same thing to you guys, but not that you were shipped here as slaves, but that you voluntarily migrated across the Bering Strait after the last ice age? What would your response to that be?
That's all been debunked.
Okay, wait. You would say that's all been debunked. Wait, so time out.
Have you not studied?
Ma'am, when I put you on mute, you don't take yourself off until I tell you to. That's the way it works. So when you say that's all been debunked, I don't think that that would truly be your answer. I mean, if you're claiming that you're a member of some Navajo nation and someone like me came along and said, no, you're lying, what would your response be? How would you prove that you're really a member of this Navajo nation? Go ahead and unmute yourself.
So again, the Bering Strait has been debunked.
Again, my very specific question is, how can you prove that you are from the Navajo nation? Go ahead. Unmute yourself. Okay, guys, you can't find the mute button.
That's not true. I'm trying to find my CIB, Goofy.
Okay, there you go. So you would prove to
Why are you
us,
so rude?
you would prove to us, because ma'am, nobody cares about you. Nobody asked you to join, and you're joining into our discussion to try to dictate our heritage to us. If anybody's rude, it's you, Plains Indian girl. It's you. So again, guys, my question to her is, how do you prove that you're a member of the Navajo Nation? And she says, my CBID card. Is that right, ma'am? That's how you can prove it?
It's a CIB. It's a Certificate of Indian Blood. Ma'am. So you're saying that you would prove that you're a member of this nation by a card, yes or no? You pretendians are sad.
So you can't answer a yes or no question. I'll try again. I'll try again with the Navajo girl starving on the reservation, spending her free time to call into us. Are you saying your proof of your heritage is a card, yes or no? Is that your proof?
That is our federal.
Okay, so that's your federal. Okay, got it. Now here's the funny thing, guys. Here's the really, really funny, strange thing. She's telling us that she's indigenous. She's a member of the Navajo Nation because she has a federal card. And she's telling me that me and my people are not indigenous. Well, guess what, dumbass? I also have a federal tribal citizenship card. So now we're...
All right, so we're going to stop here. I'm going to stop sharing. Now, what I'm going to do now is this. Okay? This is what we're going to do. Etymology of indigenous. I'm going to pull up, and I've shown you this before, all right? But I'm going to show it again. For the purpose of this lesson, we're going to look for the etymology of indigenous again. So I'm going to prove to you that they are both correct. They are both correct. All right? But in terms from the indigenous perspective, let me go ahead and share my screen. And that's why I tell people there's levels to this. Levels to this. Okay? Let me pull this back here and let me bring this up. Well, once again, when we say they are pretendings, she just called him a pretending. Because guess what? He is a pretending based on him calling himself a black native. You see, I tell people, get their emotions out of this. Okay? Get your emotions out of this. And I'm not saying you per se. All right, soulfully, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about in general. I'm telling people, get their emotions out of this. Because based on what he identified himself as, based on the treaty, the terms and conditions of the treaty that they accepted, they are from Africa. So they are not American Indians. However, they are indigenous. You see, that's why it's important to teach. All right? That's why it's important to teach the way things are supposed to be taught. Okay? Let us go into the etymology. Oh, no doubt. You're so fool. You already know. That's why I call myself the Black Identity Slayer. Who want to get mad, let them get mad. But I know the detriment of that word. All right? So let us go into now the etymology of the word. Let us see who was correct. Was it him or her? All right, boom, here we go. Let's see who was really right. Because he said she wasn't indigenous. She said he wasn't indigenous, and they had to settle it with cards. So their cards, as far as they're concerned, their cards is proof that they are indigenous, but that's not even true. Check it out. Let's read. Let's look at the etymology of the word indigenous. But even before we go into the etymology of the word indigenous, this is what I would like to do. First things first. Etymology of the word etymology. Because like I tell people, when I teach from a whole different frequency. All right? Make sure a baby could comprehend what I'm talking about. Here we go. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the etymology of the word etymology, because most people don't know what an etymology is. So here it is. An etymology, okay, the facts of the origin and development of a word, period. Not the opinion, not the definition, not your feelings, the facts. Not of the middle of the word, not of the ending of the word, but of the origin of the word. So therefore, when a word was brought into being within a certain era, okay, that's what the etymology is. The energy it was meant to carry. That is the meaning and etymology of the word. So therefore, the etymology of etymology is the facts of the origin and development of the word. In other words, how the word progressed from time to time. Okay? That's the etymology of a word. Now, let's go back into the etymology of indigenous. Etymology of indigenous. See, we cannot just decide what indigenous mean. Let us go into the etymology of the word. Let's click on that. And here we go. And even before we go into the word, look at what it says above the word. All right, what does it say here? Origin and history of indigenous. So we are still talking about the origin of the word. What does it say? Right here. What does it say? I want to bring that up for y'all. Okay? Right here. It has two meanings, people. One means to be born, and one means to be originating in a particular place. Donald Trump is indigenous. Okay? Obama is indigenous. Joe Biden is indigenous. Anybody born on American soil is indigenous. I'm going to repeat that. Anyone who's born on indigenous soil is indigenous. This is the deciding factor. What kind of indigenous? You see the difference? When you know, you know. So they both are indigenous. He's indigenous and she's indigenous because they are born. The question remains now, which one is original? We know she's not original because we know the story of the Native Americans, because we've been teaching that, I've been teaching that. So we know she's not original. Let's focus on the brother. Okay? When he says he's indigenous, does that mean he's original indigenous as in American Indian? Guess what? Based on the treaty, he's not. Now, be very mindful. I keep telling people, hearing is a skill. You can listen, but you ain't got to hear me. So I want you to hear what I'm saying. When he says he's indigenous, what does he mean? Does he mean born as a native or originating as an American Indian? I cannot answer that question for him personally because I don't know his genealogy. But what I do know, I could answer that question for him from a political perspective. You know why? Because he calls himself a black native. And then they agreed to a contract of being the slaves of natives from Africa. So that's why when she asked him, where's your ancestors from? He had to pause. Because she caught him off guard. So he had to deflect. You feel me? So they're both indigenous. And guess what? Based on hers, I know her history, she's not original. And based on not his personal history, but based on the treaty that they signed, guess what? He's not original as well. Okay? And so at this point, what are we going to do? We're going to stop here for a second, and we're going to go back to finish up the video, and we're going to also prove something as well. Now, he never answered the question. Okay? He never answered the question. You did. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to share this once more, and we're going to finish up the the video so I could go ahead and wrap it up. All right? Give me a second. All right. Boom. Let me go share that again. And by no means I'm here attacking the brother. That's not what I'm doing. I'm doing this for educational purposes only, because a lot of our people get caught up in their emotions and start telling people, you're not indigenous, we are. What you mean? What do you mean? Everybody who's born on American soil, and no, the United States is not America. I'm talking about American soil as one America. Guess what? They are indigenous, but they're not original indigenous. You see, words, there's a reason why they left it so ambiguous. When they created the UNDRIP, United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, this is why they didn't tell you who is indigenous. They left it up to self-determination. Because you see, it's all trickery. Because anybody who's born on the land, they're indigenous. You feel me? That's why I teach differently. I teach using law. I teach using documentation, not just emotions. The emotion only comes from the passion. You dig? All right, let's continue.
Now we're in some strange territory, guys. Now we're in some strange territory because she says she's indigenous because she has a card. And I'm saying I'm indigenous and I also have a federal card. So what the fuck are we up here talking about?
All right, let's stop here. Guess what? Having a federal card does not mean that you're indigenous, original indigenous. Having a federal card does not mean you're American Indian. And I gave y'all the court cases. You see, that is why I tell people when I teach, I like to show documentation. I like to show documentation. Okay? Because based on Supreme Court laws, good evening, welcome to the build. Based on Supreme Court laws, being federally recognized does not mean you're American Indian. It does not determine your race. And it does not, okay, it does not, I'm going to repeat that, determine indigeneity. Okay, it does not determine a point of origin. All it means is that you are part of a federally recognized tribe. Okay? Welcome to the bill, Mr. Dark Element. Welcome to the bill. You did. So when you're able to speak things from a lawful perspective, go into law, go into the etymology of the words, okay? Then you're able to put people in their proper context, okay? So my people, whenever you say you're indigenous, please say original indigenous. Or you could just say American Indian because it means aboriginal. It's the same thing. Some people would say, well, we're autochthonous. Yes, we are. We are the autochthon people, but that's not in law. It is not in the Constitution. It is not in the Northwest Ordinance. It's not in the treaties. Let us stop trying to run away from what our ancestors put in place to protect us, which is American Indian. I mean, we already have everything we need. But we want to change up the game. We want to call ourselves everything else. We want to create all these different groups. When our ancestors said, listen, we're going to make sure it's in the Constitution. We're going to make sure it's in the Northwest Ordinance. We're going to make sure it's in House Resolution 331. We're going to make sure that it's there to protect you so you're able to come back home. But nah, you know what? Nah, we just want to be everything else. Let me make up my own joint. You can't do that. You can't do that. Why reinvent the wheel when it's already in place for us? All right, cool. Now I prepared a lesson, a PDF. Now we are going to go into that lesson. and we're going to do some reading because reading is fun for the mental. With that being said, I'm not able to see you guys. Hold on, let me see if I could see the chat on my phone, so I could respond if anybody had, how do I do this? Where's the chat? All right, live chat. All right, good. Here we go. All right, beautiful. I got it. Good. Okay. All right, cool. So once in a while, I'll peep on my other phone, just to see the chat. All right. Because when I'm going to be reading from the documents, I can't really see anything. Okay. Can't really see that. So let me go ahead and share my screen. And this is only for knowledge purposes. This is not to put anybody down, not to hate anybody, not to call out anybody. No, that's to make sure that other people don't fall into the trap. Okay, I understand people have their business to run, but if you're running your business and it's going to cause harm eventually, then I don't think you should take your people into a burning building because you're making money. Okay, I don't think that's a good thing to do. And that's just my opinion. Okay, all right, cool. So let me go into this lesson I prepared, and here we go. So what we're going to do now, like I said, we're going to take away all the emotions. And when I'm reading this document, for those of you who haven't seen or heard my conversation with the Cherokee Nation, I want you to go listen to it again, because the reason why I'm explaining this and breaking it down so in such an articulate way is because I want you to see the hijack. I want you to see the hijack. What happened? How our people was replaced. All right, let's read. The origin of the Black Muskogee natives, because that's what they call themselves, okay? The Black Muskogee natives. Here we go. Slide that over, bring that down some more. Hold on for a second. Boom, 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 boom. All right, good. Here we go. Okay, that's the lesson I put together. Number one, the point of origin, defining the terms. So we're going to break down the terms and pretty much the history of these so-called Black Muskogee natives and what it means from a government perspective, from the federal government perspective, what it means. Number one, what does Black mean in this context? What does Black mean because they call themselves Black natives? Well, here we go. In this lesson, Black refers to people of African descent whose ancestors originated on the African continent and were brought into the Americas through the transatlantic slave trade. It doesn't matter what your emotions are. It doesn't matter what you say. I don't care. I'm telling you what it means in law. You could say it means anything in your own mind. But in law, when you call yourself Black, they're telling you you came from Africa. They don't care how you feel. They don't care what you say. It's what's in law. You did. So that is a trap. And our people not everybody, the majority of our people just don't seem to comprehend this and allow this thing to go. Let it go. Let it go. Okay? So once again, Black refers to people of African descent whose ancestors originated on the African continent and were brought into the Americas through the Atlantic slave trade. Now, this is not to question the validity or whether the slave trade happened or not. Those of you who have been following me and subscribed to my channel for a very long time, you already know I don't subscribe to that nonsense. But this is not what we are talking about here. Okay? That's not what we are talking about. So we don't have to get into the made-up slave trade. We don't have to do that. So let's proceed. Black is a racial descriptor, okay? Not a political identity. It's a racial descriptor. In other words, they took a color and said it's a race. It's like taking the color pink and say, we are pink people because that's our race. It's a racial classification and not a political identity. Why do you think people who call themselves black, they have no political rights? Because it's a racial category, not a political identity. Let us proceed. Number two, what does freedman mean? Because I hear a lot of people talking about, I'm a freedman. I'm a freedman. But we didn't come from Africa. No, if you're a freedman, you are a foreigner on the land based on law. You see, I'm choosing my words very carefully. Okay? Based on codes, based on their codes and in the legal system. If you're considered a freedman, then you are a descendant of a slave from Africa, including your descendants. So let's read that again. What does freedman means? The term freedman has a specific historical and legal meaning. Freedmen are formerly enslaved people of African descent and their descendants, period, in law. I don't care what you say. Your feelings cannot change it. Your opinion cannot change it. It's what's in law. Don't hate me for being the messenger teaching the truth. Within native nations, the term refers to Africans who were enslaved inside native nations who were later emancipated and whose citizenship was guaranteed by treaty. Let's read that again. Within native nations, not American Indian nations, but within native nations, the term refers to Africans who were enslaved inside native nations who were later emancipated and whose citizenship was guaranteed by treaty. All right? So calling yourself a freedman, calling yourself black, what you are saying is this. Whether you are cognizant of what you are saying, whether you are conscious of what you are saying, whether it's conscious or not, you are unconsciously saying that you are a descendant of a slave from Africa. So what are you saying? In basic logic, in layman terms, you are saying that the Native Americans are the original people and you are a slave from Africa because that's what the treaty said and you acquiesce to the treaty. Now, let me pause here for a second and let me come back to you guys here. Okay? Because like I tell people, we have to be able to take the emotions out of everything and look at things for what they are. And I know a lot of people don't like the truth because they want to hear things that make them feel good. And I've said it for years. I'm not here to make you feel good. I'm here to make you uncomfortable with the truth. That's why you will never hear me call my people black, because I'm not going to disrespect them and I'm not going to disrespect our ancestors. I will not do that. You dig? And it's very troubling to me that we have other people on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and all the platforms who know better. They got big platforms and they're still calling our people black. I'm not, trust me, I've even gotten to a point where I don't even want to say so-called black. I don't even want to say that. I just want to leave that word alone when it comes to our identity. You dig? I would rather say brown people, copper tone people, because that's who we are. When they came into the Americas, those are the people that they saw in the Americas. How can somebody convince you that you are black when your skin is brown? You know how? They have to take it away from the context of a racial category, which is now literally has turned into a skin complexion. Because our people have been so indoctrinated. I literally asked a brother, what's the color of your skin? He said black. I said, bro, do me a favor, bro. Look at your skin. What color is your skin? He said black. He said it 3 times. Then somebody next to him said, bro, you brown. That is how dangerous that word black is when it comes to identity. It's dangerous. It's a tool. All right. So I just wanted to say that. Let's get back to the document. Okay. So we know what freedmen mean. Freedmen, in essence, are formerly enslaved Africans and their descendants, not just the ones who came, but also their descendants. So if you're a descendant of one of those Native American slaves and you call yourself black, yes, and you descended from Africa, then you are also considered a freedman. Within the Native nations, the term refers to Africans who were enslaved inside Native nations, who were later emancipated and whose citizenship was guaranteed by the treaty. Freedmen does not automatically mean free blacks. Okay? It specifically refers to people who were enslaved. You see? So there were different categories. You feel me? Let's read that again. Freedman does not automatically mean free black. You could be a freedman and not be a free black. It specifically refers to people who were enslaved. So what are they telling you? That there were people they considered to be black on the land, but they were not freedmen because they were not enslaved. You see, you have to read with understanding. Those would have been the Negros de Terra, the Negroes of the land. Okay? And I would refrain from using that word enslaved because enslaved does not necessarily denote African origin. Because you could be an original indigenous man or woman and still be enslaved on your own land. There's a difference between being enslaved and being a slave. Okay? All right, cool. Just wanted to point that out. Let's go into number 2. Historical fact, not opinion. Not my opinion, not my feelings. No. Historical fact. African origin and enslavement. The ancestors of the Black Muskogee Creek freedmen came from Africa. All right. They were enslaved during the 18th and the 19th centuries and lived within the Muskogee Creek Nation. Now, I cannot tell these people where they came from. Maybe that's true. I don't know. I don't know. I cannot say that to be a fact. They have to know who they are. Okay? So let's read that again. The ancestors of the Black Muskogee Creek freedmen came from Africa, were enslaved during the 18th and 19th centuries, and lived within the Muskogee Creek Nation. This is confirmed by treaty records, federal enrollment rolls, and tribal and United States archival documents. We are talking about documentation beats conversation. Okay? Pay attention. All right? Here we go. There is no academic or legal dispute about this fact. It's a point made point blank. Nobody could dispute what I just said. I dare anybody. Number 3, who enslaved them? They were enslaved by individual Native American citizens, not by the United States. So you cannot sue the United States for anything. Okay? I keep telling y'all, man, you got to read with understanding. You got to read with understanding. They were enslaved by individual Native American citizens, not by the United States. Whether that's true or not, that's debatable because I know the game that was played. So I could twist that in a whole different direction. But for the purpose to stay in context, we are not going to go there. All right? Let's stick to the treaties and what they spoke of that they call facts. Okay? Within the Muskogee Nation, slavery was practiced by individual Creek citizens. Enslaved Africans lived in Creek towns, Creek households, and on Creek controlled lands. The United States did not own them. The United States law did not directly govern slavery inside tribal nations. Okay? Native nations were treated as separate political entities, not United States. Okay? Number 4, emancipation and the political recognition, 1866, right before 1861 with Abraham Lincoln. I promise y'all I'm going to do a build on that. I got y'all, all right? Because I'm going to show you the hijack. All through these documents, I'm showing you exactly what happened. Now let's go to the treaty. The treaty with the Creek Nation of 1866, it marked the legal turning point. After the Civil War, the United States required the Muskogee Nation to abolish slavery and grant full citizenship to the freedmen and their descendants. This citizenship was political, not racial. It was political, not racial. It was treaty-based, not optional, and binding on the United States constitutional law. This was the first formal recognition of Black Muskogee freedmen as citizens of the Muskogee Nation. Let's go to 5. What does tribal recognition mean? Pay attention. What does tribal recognition mean? Recognition by a native nation means political membership, including the right to vote in tribal elections, own land, tribal on the tribal law, participate in governance, tribal citizenship. But check this out. Tribal citizenship is not United States citizenship. It is a nation-to-nation political status. Number 6, how was recognition taken away? How was recognition taken away from the Black natives? Because that's what they call themselves, unfortunately. During the Dawes Rose era of 1898 to 1906, now anybody who have seen my video with the Cherokee Nation, what did the gentleman say? From 1896, from 18, I think he said 1898, I think. Yeah, he said 1896 or somewhere around there, all right, to 1906. That's the deal that they had with the federal government. So that's when they were actually ratifying all the treaties to put those Native Americans in place. You feel me? So go listen to that story again. Everything was happening around that time, the Reconstruction period. So once again, the Dawes Rose era, 1898 to 1906, the United States government divided the Muskogee citizens into 2, the Creek by blood and the Creek by freedmen. Even that was a form of trading places, because the people that they call freedmen, they were actually American Indians and literally taught that they were slaves from Africa. These people came from different parts of the Americas. They did not come from Africa. You feel me? They were the pure-blooded Indians. But during the Reconstruction period, what they did, they made sure that we're going to separate them by the Creek blood and let the native-looking type of people be the blood quantum to determine citizenship. And the ones we reclassified as slaves from Africa, we're going to call them freedmen. So we're going to separate them. So we did the hijack. Now we're going to get rid of them. You see, I'm showing y'all what happened. Let's read. This classification was racial. Guess what? It was not indigenous. As in original indigenous. It wasn't. So like I told you, both of them was right and both of them was wrong. And I explained that earlier. Okay? So this classification was racial, not indigenous, and planted the foundation for later exclusion. In 1979, the Muskogee Constitution redefined citizenship as by blood, because once again, they keep pushing the original people away from their inheritance and their blood right. You dig? So what they did was, when they did the hijack, now they got control. All of a sudden, they are actually now redefining the blood quantum practice that they used to get in power, or they used to get in, to put themselves in place. Excluding. So what they did now, they excluded the freedmen and the descendants, effectively ignoring the treaty rights. Okay? This marked the withdrawal of the political recognition through the racial redefinition. So even if they were recognized strictly from a racial perspective, The mere fact that they say now, we only doing this through blood, you could no longer be a citizen of the native nation. Number 7, legal struggle and restoration of recognition. A treaty cannot be overwritten by a later constitution because treaties are the laws of the land, right? So it couldn't have been overwritten by a later constitution. So the freedmen descendants argued that the 1866 treaty guarantees citizenship, blood quantum is a colonial concept, and political rights are not racial privileges. And in context, that is true. And what do I mean by that? You feel me? Blood quantum was a colonial concept to literally replace our people that were the original people, the American Indians, to create a classification now called Native Americans. You feel me? And that's why I tell people, identifying yourself as black is very, very dangerous. It's detrimental in every way of the word, even from a spiritual and a metaphysical perspective. Let us continue. Did I go too far? Hold up. All right, here we go. In the 2020s, the Muskogee Nation Supreme Court affirmed treaty-based citizenship rights, recognized freedmen descendants listed on the original rolls, all right, and restored political status to thousands. Political status, all right. So the goal was this: let's come up with the roles, every role, the Dawes rolls, all these different type of roles, so we could clean house. That was them getting rid of our people. And then once they refined everything with the Bureau of Indian Affairs. I did a video on that. I did a lesson on that. Now it was time to redefine things. Recognition was restored. Okay? It was not newly granted. It was just restored. Number 8, verified references and case law. Primary sources include the treaty with the Creek Nation 1866 and the Dawes Rolls, the Creek Freedmen. I'm giving you sources. Go look it up. Legal authority includes Article 6 of the United States Constitution and the Muskogee Nation Supreme Court opinions from the 2020s. Scholarly authorities include Daniel F. Littlefield and Tia Miles. In summary, Black Muskogee Native Americans known as freedmen are descendants of Africans who were enslaved by individual Muskogee citizens, not by the United States. After the emancipation, they were politically recognized as citizens of the Muskogee Nation by treaty, later excluded, all right, through the racial redefinition, and ultimately had their treaty-based recognition restored. Okay? One of the main reasons why I wanted to share this with y'all is because I want you guys to see what transpired. All right. So the mere fact that this gentleman is calling himself a black native and saying that you are indigenous, that is an oxymoron. It's a contradiction. You cannot be black and be an American Indian. You cannot be black and be an Aboriginal of America. You cannot be black. There's no such thing as a black American. There's no such thing as a white American. That don't exist. Those are all statuses. You feel me? Now, y'all take it to mean what y'all want. I'm just only here to teach the truth. When you take your emotions out of the way, you'll realize I'm telling you the truth. So by default, even if this gentleman has his card, that card is only political. It does not determine race. It doesn't determine whether you're indigenous or not. It definitely doesn't say you're American Indian, and it doesn't denote your origin is in America. Based on their treaty, the deal that they made, they agreed to be descendants of slaves from Africa. By default, what did you acquiesce to? You just acquiesced to Native Americans being your slave masters and that they were the original people. So how can you be on here talking about you American Indian. Hmm? And then you're charging people $1,400 to do genealogy to teach them that they're black, natives. My people, man, y'all got to get out your emotions, man. Like for real. You have to get out your emotions and see what's happening. See what's going on. This was a whole psyop movement. It was part of a whole plot. It was a play, a stage play. Our people was replaced on paper. Now I got to say this in fairness, okay? Maybe the brother don't know they got bamboozled. They got hoodwinked. I don't know. But based on their current status that they accepted, all right, they literally just went back to being the descendants of slaves of Native Americans. So those Native Americans have every right to say that y'all came from Africa because that's what you agreed to. Why are you mad at them? Why are you cursing her out when she's speaking the truth? And that's what you see, that's what bothers me with people. Not to the point where I let it get to me. No, I'm just saying it irks me. Because you agree to the treaty. You agree to the terms of the treaty. But you want to come on the internet and talk about you not from Africa. Somebody let it make sense. Let it make sense. You want to say you FBA, but on your website, it said you came in 1524. How are you not African? You are just African born in America. You feel me? And I'm always going to say this. It does not mean you are not originally from America. But the mere fact you call yourself black, you take everything away from your credibility. And then you get emotional. You get disrespectful. And y'all don't realize that? I'm not the one making the rules. I'm not the one making the laws, people. I'm not the one doing that, my brothers and sisters. I am here to teach y'all the truth. You feel me? Now, this is what I'm going to do. I have another document here, which I'm going to go over. Because I like to show things. I like to show my documents. You know why? Because documentation beats conversation. Okay? All right, let's rock. Documentation beats conversation. You see, people could talk and get emotional. Just show the facts. Show the facts. You don't have to get all crazy. Just show the facts. So here we go. You see, they always have to put black in front of it. You know why they have to put black? Because black puts you in Africa. Guaranteed. Facts over feelings. So let's read. Black descendants of the tribal freedmen and AB 3125 by Marilyn Van President, descendant of freedmen of the 5 civilized tribes. So that is one of those descendants telling their own story. So if that's you telling your story, how are you going to tell people you're not African? You're just an African born in America. That's all it is. So let's read. All right. Before the Civil War status of tribal blacks, that means blacks that came from Africa. Okay. The 5 tribes, the Cherokee, the Creek, the Seminole, the Choctaw, and the Chickasaw. Guess what it says? They owned black slaves. They owned black slaves. Prior to Indian removals in the southeast United States and later in what is now eastern and southern Oklahoma. You see, what these people are not questioning is this. Them calling you a slave does not mean you came from Africa. You see, that's what they tell you it means, and that's what it means within the codes. But a lot of these people were taken from different parts of the Americas, particularly the Caribbean, and brought into the United States, and people from the United States were taken into the Caribbean. You did. And let's not forget the black Europeans. They're not from Africa, and they're not from America. All those people were lumped up into one group and considered African slaves. That's why I keep telling these people, stop going based on what the colonizers said. The colonizers came with one purpose, all right, summed up in a few different, supporting different strategic moves. Number one, they came, they said they discover. Number two, they had to rename everything and everyone to make everything new. That was the goal. And they accomplished it. All right? Because now they got the original people calling themselves black, calling themselves African, calling themselves African American, calling themselves all kind of names. And then they got the people who came in the 1700s, have them calling themselves Native Americans. That's interesting, isn't it? But let us read. Somebody remind me to go to the census when I'm done reading this, okay? I want to go to the census. So when I'm done, just remind me in the comments, okay? The tribes joined the Confederate state largely to protect black chattel slavery, okay? Treaties and tribes. At the end of the Civil War and upon the surrender of the 5 tribes, the United States required new treaties with them to reestablish their government-to-government relationship. Pay attention to what we're reading. At the end of the Civil War, upon the surrender of the 5 tribes. You see, our people never surrendered. Our people never surrendered. It was a reconstruction. And the people that were put in place, they surrendered to the United States. Okay? The United States required new treaties with them to reestablish their government-to-government basis. In other words, help us misclassify these people. Take the land, and we'll make a deal with you once we ratify those treaties, and we'll treat you from a government-to-government basis. In layman terms, that's what took place. All right? Beginning in 1866, the Creek, Cherokee, and Seminole nations recognized their former slaves and free blacks as equal citizens with rights to hold office. Now pay attention. Their former slaves and free blacks. If you are a free black, wouldn't you be a former slave? What is the distinction? Because all so-called black persons were not slaves or were not from Africa. You got to read between the lines. Even some of these slaves, they were not from Africa. They're telling you about 2 different categories of people who are so-called black. Okay? Greetings, Zazie. Let us rock. Choctaw and Chickasaw, the nations did not have to adopt the freedmen. And if they did, they would receive payment from the U.S. government. So the U.S. government was saying, hey, listen, man, if you receive this freedmen, then we're going to pay you. That's what they're saying in short. Let's go into Article 2 of the Creek Treaty of June 14th, 1866, 14 Statute 785. Let us go. All right. We're talking about the treaty, Article 2. Not my opinion. And this is a Black Muskogee individual telling you that, not me. I just did my due diligence. Okay. Let's read. Inasmuch as there are among the Creeks many persons of African descent who have no interest in the soil. You hear that? They have no interest in the soil. What you mean? If you take me, if you take me and my people from Africa and you put me in a whole new land, what you mean I ain't got no interest? You did. What they did was they changed the status of our people, called them Africans, and let them know you have no interest, beneficial interest in the land. It's all hijacked, my people. Play on words. It's called legalese. All right? So they have no interest in the soil. It is stipulated that thereafter, these persons lawfully residing in said Creek country under their laws and usages, or who have been thus ridden in said country and may return in 1 year from the ratification of this treaty, and the descendants and such others of the same race as may be permitted by the laws of said nation to settle within the limits of the jurisdiction of the Creek nation as citizens thereof. And it says, shall have and enjoy all the rights and privileges of native citizens. Not one time they have said American Indian. What these so-called black people don't realize is that their ancestors were the American Indians that got tricked into changing their political status from American Indian to black, which denotes African slave, to take over the joint. I'm telling you, this is deep. So once again, they will enjoy all the rights and privileges of native citizens, including an equal interest in the soil and national funds. All right. Before statehood, Jim Crow in 1907. After the treaties were signed, Seminole Creek and Cherokee freedmen exercised all rights of native citizens. They use it, you saw they say native citizens, not American Indians, holding office, receiving education, marrying as they pleased, farming, ranching, voting, etc. Creek freedmen were organized into 3 tribal towns, okay, inherited political voting districts, and the Seminole freedmen into the freedmen bands in inherited political districts. And then they have Creek Nation, they have some documents here to show some archives and stuff like that. All right, let us proceed. The Dawes Road made by whom? The Dawes Roads made by the U.S. government listed citizens of the 5 civilized tribes who shared in the allotment division of their tribe's land. Like I told you, it was a hijack. The government was behind all of it. But what they did was they put the liability on those Native Americans. That's why those Native Americans are also going to pay the karma for what they did to our people. You did. Because they are not American Indians. They are not original people. They were put in place. They were adapted. They were adapted. And I'm going to show it to you. So I want you to remind me of 2 things. What was the first one I said? The first one was what? Damn, I forgot already. I should have wrote that down. But anyway, I ask you guys to remind me. So remind me of that when I'm done reading it, okay? Because I already forgot, honestly. So once again, what did the deal that they made? It was not reparations to any tribal member. It was not reparations, okay? Now, allotments were granted to tribal citizens living between 1898 and April 26, 1906 in Indian Territory. The Dawes Commission or commissioners used previous rolls and censuses to determine if a person should be registered. After they did their dirty work, okay, messing with the paperwork, or what people were excluded. I mean, a lot of people don't have no idea what actually went on. Yeah, the census, thank you. The census. Yeah, let me make a note of that. All right, census. I got to go back to that. All right, census. All right, let me just make a note, census. All right, cool. So we'll go to that. So I got to go to the census, and then I got to go show you native, and then I'm going to go show you Indian. I mean, I've shown you guys this before, but for the purpose of this lesson, I'm going to make sure I go over that, okay? All right, cool. Hold on for 1 second. Hold on for a second. Hold on for a second, guys. Hold on. All right, here we go. The Dawes Commissions used previous rolls and censuses to determine if a person would be registered. Dawes rolls sections included by blood, the freedmen, intermarried, newborn, and minor tribal citizens. What are Dawes freedmen rolls? Black registered on the freedmen rolls of any of the 5 civilized tribes were persons whose right to register was based on the 1866 treaties. So during that Reconstruction, okay, our people, American Indians, were labeled black. And what does black denote? Black denote African. What does African denote? African denotes enslavement. You feel me? Enslavement. Because and that's what we're going to do as well. For the purpose of this bill, we're going to look at the etymology of Africa. So we're going to do that next. Africa first. All right, then we go into census, and then that's going to be the format. All right, I wrote it down, so you guys ain't got to remind me. I appreciate that. Much gratitude. Much gratitude. I'm Divine Love 131. So blacks registered on the freedmen rolls of any of the 5 civilized tribes were persons whose right to register was based on the 1866 treaties. Persons listed as freedmen did not have degrees of Indian blood assigned by the Dawes Commission, even if they had a parent listed on by blood section of the rolls. Now, just listen to what it is. I'm showing you the hijack and the paper genocide. All right, listen to that again. Persons listed as freedmen did not have degrees of Indian blood assigned by the Dawes Commission, even if they had a parent listed on the by blood section of the rolls. So let me ask you a question. Let's just create a hypothetical situation. If you have a mother or a father that's from Africa or from Europe or from Asia, wouldn't you have their blood in them? And if one of them is an Indian and it says that on the document, doesn't that mean you have both blood in you? They said, nah, you don't have no degree of Indian blood, period. You are strictly African. That's what they were using to take our people from their status. Everything was done with the Dawes rolls. Everything was done with all the rolls. Okay, all the rolls. The reconstruction and the ratification of the treaties. That's how it all happened. That paper genocide took place. So they made American Indians, once again, it started in the Caribbean, Negros de Terra. That was the first, the Caribbean was the testing ground. Let's see if that's going to work by the Portuguese. Let's call them Negroes. And then Negro eventually leads into what's called Black. Black now means enslavable. Enslavable means African. All right, perfect. We mastered that in the Caribbean. What we're going to do is we're going to tell our cousins in Great Britain, yo, we got the formula. Let me show you exactly how to do it. And that's what happened. Paper genocide. Okay? How did statehood affect freedmen of the tribes? Between 1907 and 1965, much of the focus for freedmen was fighting against Jim Crow and the Jim Crow laws, which were passed immediately after the Oklahoma statehood in 1907. Non-Black tribal members were legally white. Non-Black tribal members were legally white. All these Native Americans, they had status as being white. I keep telling people, man, you feel me? You have to do your research, my people. Okay? You have to do your research. Holito lineage was good. Welcome to the build. All right? Non-Black tribal members were legally white. It doesn't mean that they were white in complexion. No one is white in complexion. They were legally white. The same way a North African, as dark as night, will come into the United States and be labeled white. The same way that Mexicans will be labeled white. It was all a status. Greenwood district of Black Tulsa, burnt down in 1921 by white mobs, is located within the Creek and Cherokee Nation reservations. Okay? What they supposedly call Black Wall Street, but it was actually American Indian Wall Street. All right? Freedmen and 5 tribes, 1907 to 1970. The 5 civilized tribes governments were not functioning between 1907 and 1970. Why is that? Because the U.S. government appointed principal chiefs to conduct minimal business between the tribes and the United States until the Principal Chiefs Act was passed in 1970 and the tribal leaders were elected from then forward, because the United States was again putting who they want in place. Now check this out. Look at this. From 1907 all the way to 1970, the 5 civilized tribes governments were not functioning between those years. Somebody let it make sense. For 63 years, they were not functioning. Who was in control? the U.S. government putting their own principal chiefs in place to dismantle. Man. Let us read. Friedman, 1970 onward. Tribal leaders began to pass tribal constitutions, that those are ratified constitutions, by the way, and or tribal codes to remove freedmen tribal members and or discriminate against them in obtaining tribal services, asserting that freedmen were non-Indians. Well, if they call themselves black, guess what? They are not. They were forced out the tribes and were considered squatters from Arkansas. Okay? They said they was from Arkansas. Cherokee freedmen, the 21st century. After the tribe passed an illegal constitutional amendment to remove them, because like I said, everything was paper genocide, Cherokee freedmen descendants finally obtained enforcement of their treaty rights after the District of Columbia court case, Cherokee Nation versus Nash and Van and Zinke case, was won by the freedmen, the litigants, and the Department of Interior in 2017. Other key cases were tribal case, court case, Lucy Allen, and the District of Columbia court case, Van et al. Versus Zinke. After the Nash and Van decision, the tribal court made Nash and Van case a part of the Cherokee law. 21st century Creek freedmen fight. In the Creek Nation, the freedmen litigants are fighting in tribal court to win tribal membership removed from them in 1979. You dig? Through a tribal constitutional change where freedmen tribal members were blocked from voting. Because why? They had to do that. Because they know they were the American Indians. And they know they had the power. So they had to get rid of them. This is crazy, man. All right. Yes, it should get us mad and angry. That's why I keep telling our people, bro, like let's stop calling ourselves black, bro. You know what I mean? People just don't understand what, I mean, I'm telling you, man, it's a curse. That's facts. The Seminole freedmen, 21st century. Seminole freedmen, tribal members vote and hold tribal office. The tribe tried to throw out freedmen, but were unsuccessful. See, and I'm giving you cases, right? See, DC federal case, Seminole Nation versus Norton. But the tribe has blocked them from tribal services. However, in October 2021, after great efforts from the freedmen descendants leadership, the Indian Health Service issued a letter directing Indian Health Services and clinics and tribal clinics to provide medical services to Seminole freedmen and tribal members. Why are our people begging to be who they are? Why are our people begging for crumbs and breadcrumbs at a table that belong to us? That's what I want to know. And this is what pisses me off. Okay? That is what pisses me off. Let us read. 2019 through 2021, House Financial Services, the committee. The chairman and her committee staff worked to get language into the Indian Housing Bill, H.R. 5195, a tie of 5 tribes housing funds to their being in compliance with the 1866 treaties of the freedmen. Note, Marilyn Van gave testimony and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. Bottom line is this, all right? They talk about the Marilyn Van testified, and eventually they got recognized as of late, all right? Tribal notion, they gave a few court cases, blah, 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 further suggestions, just more resources. You could look all of this up yourself, okay? All of this up yourself, all right? So once again, Freedmen of the 5 Civilized Tribes Association was formed to fight the treaty rights of enforcement of freedmen descendants, litigation, and the educational funds have also been raised through the 501c3 African Indians. There's no such thing as an African Indian. You might as well say African American. There's no such thing as an African Indian. Foundation of the 5 Civilized Tribes, okay? Now, you could be an African that got mixed with Indians, but there's no such thing as an African Indian. Well, I guess it's African American, same thing. I mean, hey, it is what it is. And look at the website, africanindians.org. Let it make sense. Let it make sense. Okay, so those are the real African Americans. All right? Those are the real African Americans if they are truly from Africa. All right, cool. Boom. So we're going to stop sharing this. And then I said I was going to look at the etymology of Africa. That's what I'm going to do right now. So this document right here, I have this document. I think I downloaded this document because I like to hold them things as a teaching tool. So we are going to close that out. And we're going to look at the etymology of African. And we're going to put this in perspective again, as always. All right. Let me close that out. And then we're going to bring that down. And let me go into the search. And we're going to put up African. Here we go. African. Here we go. Here we go. Welcome to the build, everybody. Welcome to the build. All right, hold on for a second. Let me just go ahead and share my screen. Share my screen. Etymology of Africa. Let's go. So here we go. I hope everybody remember what the etymology of a word is, okay? Remember what the etymology of a word is. So we are talking about the facts and the origin of the word. All right, let's go. Here we go. African. Old English. Africanus. Africanus. Plural. Native or inhabitant of Africa. From Latin. Africanus. Adjective of Africa. African. From Africa, see Africa. Used of white residents of Africa from 1815. But guess what it says? Used of black residents of the U.S. from the 18th century, when it especially meant one brought from Africa, and sometimes was contrasted to native-born Negroes. That's interesting. Native-born Negroes, right? Then we're going to look at the etymology of the word Negro as an adjective of 1560 pertaining to Africa or Afrikaans. Let us scroll, hold up for a second. All right, so that's African, all right? But before we do that, we're going to look at Negro, then we'll look at Africa, okay? So the term African, they said it's always contrasted to a native-born Negro. So check this out, a Negro, a member of a black-skinned race of Africa, from Spanish, Portuguese, negro, black, dark, sable, dusky, a storm, the complexion, figuratively gloomy, all right, unlucky, bad. I don't call myself none of that. I ain't no Negro either, all right? I'm not black, I'm not a Negro, I'm none of that. And it says, the Latin word also applied to the black peoples of Africa, an adjective with the capital, New York, blah, 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 and it meaning African American vernacular language as spoken in for U.S. blacks is from 1704. All right, and then it comes down to the word negro. Words were in Old English was actually more or blackamoor. Okay, more or blackamoor. So it's the same thing. A more is a Negro. A more is a black person. I'm just saying. Here goes the etymology. You dig? All right, good. What we're going to look at now, we're going to look at African. Not African, but Africa, which is the supposed continent, okay? Here's the interesting thing about it. Let's look at this right here. Let's pay attention to the etymology of Africa. Here we go. Africa, a noun. Africa is a noun. Latin, Africa, terra, African land, Libya, Carthaginian territory, the province of Africa, Africa as a continent, feminine, of adjective, Africos, from the Afro and African, a word of uncertain origin, The Latin word originally was used only in reference to the region around modern Tunisia. That was all Africa was. Tunisia. It gradually was extended to the whole continent, derivation from a Phoenician cognative of dust earth. So once again, only the part of Africa was actually called was Tunisia. Now, what I want to look at is Afro. Let me see if I can find Afro. All right. The reason why I'm saying that is because how is that those people, the term African literally became about in the 16th century. So why are you telling people that was already in the Americas in the 1400s that they came from Africa when that word wasn't even around yet? That's the point I'm trying to make. Okay, that's the point I'm trying to drive home. Okay, Afro. Let me see if that comes up as an etymology. Give me a second, or just go back and show us Africa. That's all. All right. So that is the point I wanted everybody to see. The only place that was called Africa, it was Tunisia. That's it. It was not the entire continent. It wasn't. So you see how history and the changing of words could literally throw history off to make you think it's a fact and it's true. It's not. All right. Next thing I want to do is this. I want to go to the census. Let's see if we can go to the census here for a second. Go back, go back, go back, go back, go back, go back, go back. The census. All right. Census, 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 census. All right. Census. Here we are. We are going to go to the census. And this is not me. I'm going to the census.gov. This is a government site. And they're going to tell you exactly what things are. I've shown this before, but for the purpose of this lesson, we are going to go show it again. American Indian, as per the census. All right. Oh, yeah, that's where I'm at. Well, I'm at the census, but yeah, when you go to the OMB website, it tells you that as well. All right. But let us go into the census because they're all part of the OMB, same administrative branches of government. All right. So boom, here we go. American Indian. Pay attention. American Indian, it says North, Central, and South America. But what's more important is this. They are tied to an original people. Okay? I'm going to highlight everything as we go along. American Indians are tied to North, South, and Central America. They are tied to original people. Original people. Okay? Let's go to the next one. Asians. Asians, they're tied to what? An original people. That is the key thing we're looking at right now. Their point of origin. Okay? Asians are tied to an original people. Let's go next. We're going to save the best for last. We're going to go to Hispanic and Latino. Guess what? Hispanic or Latino, they're not tied to an original people. Hispanic and Latino, they're not tied to an original people. The only time origin is mentioned is when it comes to a culture. That's it. It includes of Mexico, Puerto Rico, Salvadorian, Cuban, Dominican, Guatemalan, and other Central or South American Indian or, pardon me, not Indian, South American or Spanish culture or origin. Because guess what? When we look at American Indian, didn't it say South America? Didn't it say Central America? So you could be from Central America and South America. You feel me? But it doesn't mean you're American Indian. You see the difference? Just wanted to point that out. Let's go into the Middle Eastern or North Africa. Guess what? They are tied to an original people. So far, Hispanic and Latino, they're not tied to an original people. North Africans are tied to an original people. The Middle East Indians, pardon me, the Middle Easterns, okay, they're tied to an original people. Let's go to Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islanders. Guess what? They are tied to an original people. Isn't that amazing? They're tied to an original people. Hmm? All right. Oh yes, when you go into free, into free white persons, it talk about North Africans as well. Yep. But let us go into white. What does it say? White is also tied to an original people. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? But we know that's the hijack because in the 1800s, free white persons did not include Caucasians. It did not include none of them. You did. That time they were talking about black Europeans, including the Moors, including the Sephardic Jews. Okay? All right, cool. The Magyars, the Thins. All right? But let's go back. We saved the best for last. Let's go back to black. We saved the best for last. Black and African American. What does it say? Right here. Show me where it says tied to an original people. Anybody. Show me where it says tied to an original people. This is what the U.S. government is saying, not me. The U.S. government is telling you, black or African American individuals with origins in any of the black, a black racial group of Africa. Do me a favor. Go show me any country in Africa that's called a black racial group. I'll wait. Go show me any country in Africa that is called a black racial group. I'm waiting. But yet still, people would rather fight me and people like us that's speaking the truth just because they feel there's some type of entitlement to calling yourself black. Exactly. There's no country in Africa called black racial groups. So if they're telling you you are not from the Americas and you are not from any country in Africa, now you see why the system treat our people the way they treat them, because they're telling you that you are a stateless people. You are lost at sea. But now I get the hate for speaking the truth and teaching the facts. Just because I want you to give up the black and step into who you truly are. Let it make sense. Let it make sense. Well, yeah, absolutely. Unidentifiable. Okay? So with that being said, let's read that again now. Black or African American, individuals with origins in any of the black racial groups of Africa, including, for example, they gave examples now. Okay? African, African American, Jamaican, Haitian, Nigerian, Ethiopian, and Somali. So what are they telling you? As long as you identify as black or African American, they don't care if you're African American, they don't care if you're in Jamaica, they don't care if you're in Haiti, they don't care if you're in Nigeria, they don't care if you're in Ethiopia, they don't care if you're Somali. Y'all don't see a trend? Can anybody tell me what's the trend here? And what's happening right now? Can anybody tell me what's the trend? Can anybody tell me what's the trend in regards to the political atmosphere going on right now? I'm even giving y'all a clue. I just gave y'all a clue. Can anybody tell me what's the trend? ICE on them. Yes. Yes. All right. So guess what? Every individual on that list is going to be targeted by ICE. I keep talking to my people. Y'all think because you call yourself black and no, you can't be touched. I keep telling y'all, man, I was sent for this. And a lot of people think, I don't know why they think. Like I said, I already know what it is. You feel me? But I'm only here to open up your eyes. You feel me? Because they're starting with those different ethnic groups in that category for a reason. For a reason. So you don't raise any. It don't raise any red flags for you to support it. You feel me? To support it. But here's the situation. When they get rid of the Somalis, guess where they're going? They're going back to their country. Okay? When they get rid of the Ethiopians, they're going back to their country. When they get rid of the Haitians are going back to their country, but guess where their country is? It's in North America. When they get rid of Jamaicans, they're going back to their country, but guess where their country is? It's in North America. When they get rid of African Americans, let me ask you a question. What country are they going to? You tell me. You see, y'all don't realize what's going on. And you're so caught up in your emotions, you don't even realize this is ethnic cleansing that's taking place right now. Okay? That's what it is. So think it's a game. Think the colonizers are playing games with us. These people, they came for one reason. To take our land. To take our land. And y'all out there fighting Jamaicans when the government say, nah, you're the same as Jamaicans. You're fighting Haitians when the government say you are the same as Haitians. You're fighting Nigerians and the government say you are the same as Nigerians. You're fighting Somali and the government is telling you, guess what? We see you the same people. What they're doing is they are using you. They are using you and your voice and your energy to pass what they're doing. They're playing chess and you're learning to play checkers. My people, wake up, man. Wake up. So I wanted to show y'all this, to open up your eyes to see what's going on. And everything that I'm teaching you, watch it come into fruition. Watch it come into fruition. Okay? My people, correct your status. Let go of this black identity. Let it go. It's in your best interest because it's not going to end well. No, it's not. Because they're not playing. This is called ethnic cleansing. Let's go back down here. Check this out. These people are not tied to any original Hispanic and Latinos. So what you think was happening to them now? I'm showing you people without an origin, what's happening to them, people. I'm showing y'all right in your faces. So tell me I'm making it up. Tell me I'm making it up. Everybody without an origin is being attacked by ICE. Because they call themselves black or African American. Okay? Well, I wouldn't say Jesse Jackson patented anything. Jesse Jackson just brought it back. African American been around since the 1800s. That's nothing new. Okay, Jesse Jackson just brought it back. That's all. They took it all the way back from the 1800s and they put him in place to bring it back. That's all. All right, just so you know. All right. Next, we are going to go to we did the census. We are going to conclude on Native American, and I'm still sharing my screen, right? Yeah, I think I am. Yep. So, all right, no, I got to share it again. Hold on for a second. So we're going to go here and we're going to go look at Native. And I've done this before, but we're going to do it again for the purpose of this build. All right. Here we are. Let me go share my screen and then boom. Hey, listen, fam, if they don't want to wake up, that's on them. Okay. That's on them if they don't want to wake up, but they can't say they didn't know. because I've been teaching that for how many years now? All right. Let us go ahead and share my screen. And when I do the lesson on Abraham Lincoln from 1861, that's going to even open up your mind. And I'm, like I said, I'm digging and showing you exactly what happened and why it happened. Okay. All right, cool. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to go into the Black's Law Dictionary. Now, the Black's Law Dictionary is a dictionary that's used in the courts. And we're going to look at the meaning of Native American in the Black's Law Dictionary, second edition. All right, here we go. As you could see, Black's Law Dictionary. So I'm not making it up. All right. And let us look at native. What does it say? Native, a natural born. Here we go. This is where it is. Right here. In green. A natural born subject or citizen, a denizen by birth. One who owes his domicile or citizenship to the fact of his birth within a country referred to. So anybody is native. Anybody is native. So when these Native Americans call themselves natives, it's a blanket statement letting you know we was just born on the land. That's why they cannot call themselves American Indians. Why do you think Obama said we're going to get rid of American Indian and say native? Because let me tell you something, everything is spiritual. Everything is spiritual because like I told y'all before, when I told y'all about the Jubilee in 2017, what happened? They brought the abomination on the scene. You did? Because in the Jubilee, the original people were supposed to be restored. So they could not call themselves American Indians. No, that don't belong to them. So Obama took it away, but it was kind of like a twofold. Remember, Isaiah 45:7. Can anybody tell me? In fact, I'm not even going to get into that. I'm going to tell you what it is. Isaiah 45:7, the Lord God said, I create good, I create evil. I create light, I create dark. So every president is doing the same thing. They got the light and the dark. They got the good and the evil because they're playing God. What do you think G-O-D means? Government Department Ordinance, people. They are God, not my God. You feel me? But I'm just breaking it down to y'all. So when Obama came in, regardless of what he did, he had to make sure he take back American Indian, take it away from them and say now it is only politically correct to use Native American. That's why they cannot call themselves American Indians. We are the only ones that could do that. Once in a while, one of them might use it once in a while, but they always have to revert to their political identity, which is Native American. That's why they'll always tell you, you're not Native, you're not Native. We know. We know damn well we ain't Native. And you ain't American Indian either, but we know who we are. We are the American Indians. So you see how that works? That is why they could not use it. Because guess what? It was the Jubilee, and all people didn't get the message when I told y'all in 2017. So the abomination came back. The Democrats, for our people to start waking up. Our people had to wake up in 2017. Wake up in 2017. Obama had to come to put them back to sleep, but it didn't happen because 2025 was right around the corner. The year of manifestation, giving birth to who we are, bringing back the American Indians. That's why our people started waking up in numbers because it was another Jubilee. So Native Americans cannot use that. They cannot. Okay? All right. So once again, this is what native means, but we're going to dive into it a little deeper. All right? A natural born subject or citizen or a denizen by birth. Now that's very crucial right here. Denizen by birth. What does that mean? So what are we going to do is we are going to just highlight that word denizen and we're going to look it up and see what it means. Here we go. Denizen. What does that mean? Here we are. Denizen. Definition. Now listen to the pronunciation of the word, just making sure I pronounced it correctly. Here we go.
Denizen.
Denizen. Let us look at the meaning. It has two meanings, the literary meaning and the historical meaning. Since we are talking about history, we are going to focus on the historical meaning. Let's pay attention. But first, let us read the literary meaning. An inhabitant or occupant of a particular place. So anybody could be a native. So when Native Americans say that they're native, it's nothing special per se. And this is no disrespect. Because when I teach, I don't have to belittle people to speak the facts. You feel me? So I'm not disrespecting them as a people, or I'm not degrading nobody. I'm just giving you the facts. I want to make sure I make my disclaimer. All right? All right, cool. But here's the interesting thing. Let us look at it from a historical perspective. A historical perspective, from the British English perspective. All right? A foreigner, a Native American is a foreigner, allowed certain rights in an adopted country. Native Americans are adopted by the United States. That's a fact. And they did not come from the Bering Strait. They came from Siberia, from Siberia and Russia were first. They came from Russia, all right, to come to Alaska to work during the fur trade in the 1700s. That's why you'll see when you go to the census, it said American Indian or Alaska Native. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Why it couldn't be just American Indians if we're just the original people? Why they had to put or Alaska Native? Why? Because that was the foundation of the hijack. That was the foundation of the hijack. Two categories, American Indian or Alaska Native. American Indian was first. Alaska Natives was used to replace American Indians, and that's what happened. These people came here in the 1700s. They did not come here 20,000 years ago from no damn Bering Strait. Everything is political. Everything is administrative. That's why all the treaties have to be ratified to replace the original people. Okay? Yeah, they were actually Eurasians. Eurasia and Europe and Asia via Russia, and they came down into Alaska, and then they from Alaska went up into Canada, came down through the Appalachian Mountains, and they were put in place. All right, cool. Now we got that. What we're gonna do is now we're gonna look at Indian. I don't want anybody to say I'm being biased. Well, Chief, you are being biased. Well, let's look at Indian. Let us look at Indian. Boom. In the same Black's Law Dictionary. Here we go. What does it say? Indian in the same Black's Law Dictionary. What does it say? An original inhabitant of North America. They even have a court case. Period, point blank. So there's distinctively a difference between an American Indian and a native. A native is a denizen, all right? An adopted individual subject of a particular country. And they have to keep calling themselves Native Americans. They cannot call themselves American Indians. They cannot do that. Okay? Well, the United States is a corporation. You know what I'm saying? So it's all from a colonial perspective. You feel me? They are imperialists. It's an imperialist system. As a matter of fact, so I'm done here now. Okay, so I'm about to conclude. But I just wanted to come and do this build. And hopefully, you guys appreciate the information. All right? Let me see something. Etymology of imperialism. So let me see if we could find the etymology of imperialism. Let me see. All right. So here we go. I'm going to close out on this and let y'all see what's actually happening right now. Let me share my screen. Here we go. Imperialism. What does it say? Advocacy of empire. Pay attention now. Advocacy of empire. Devotion to imperial interests. But the first thing is advocacy of empire. All right? What you think is happening right now? You see, I keep telling people, if only my people knew. I've been asking my people to walk with me, man. I know how to restore our people. We already got everything in place, because let them do what they have to do. Let the system do what they have to do. When it's time for us to step up, guess what? Everything will already be in place. You see, people just can't see what's happening. But get what? The ancestors got me on point with this. Advocacy of empire, devotion to imperial interests. Imperial interests, originally in a Napoleonic context, but used of Rome and of the British foreign policy. We look at imperial in a few, all right? At times in British use, with a neutral or positive sense relating to national what? National what? National what? Don't you hear the president is always talking about national what? Can anybody tell me what the president always talk about? National what? National interests, my people. Okay, national interests. So is the US an imperialistic system? Yes, it is. All right. So once again, national interest or the spread of benefits of Western civilization. Isn't that what's getting ready to happen with Greenland? Expansion, big national interest, the spread of benefits. All righty then. Let's go look at, and it says what? With French, republicanism, sick of its own folly and misdeeds, became metamorphosed into the imperialism and consoled into the incapacity of found domestic freedom by putting an iron yoke upon Europe and covering it with blood and battlefields, etc. Don't y'all see what's getting ready to happen? Don't y'all see what's getting ready to happen? Let me show y'all, man. Let me show. Like I tell people, when I told y'all about the civil war that was coming, when they gave you the movie, that was a public service announcement. But people think it was just entertainment. You feel me? Let's read that again. What happened in Europe? It says what? Incapacity to find domestic freedom by doing what? Putting an iron yoke upon Europe and covering it with what? Blood and the battlefields. Guess what's about to happen in the United States? Same thing, people. It's written on the wall. But once again, Chief don't know what he's talking about. Okay. Let's check this out. Imperial. Having a commanding quality. Imperial, pricely, splendid, strong, powerful. Imperialist of the empire or emperor. Empire. Okay? That's what we're looking at. Trump is making himself the emperor of the American empire. Oh, man. Oh, wow. Like I said, man, all I got to do, man, is just come give y'all the gems, man. You do what you want with it. If, like I tell our people, if y'all don't want to learn the easy way, you're going to learn the hard way. Okay? All we have to do is keep putting ourselves in place, coming together. Forget all the hate, all the crazy stuff we have amongst each other, man. Let that go. I keep telling y'all, walk with the brother, man. Walk with the brother. So we're able to step up and do what needs to be done. You dig? But anyway, I'm done. Okay? Last term, they called him Cyrus, huh? Yep. Because everything, man, had to be put in place. Like I told y'all before, you see, every time I tell myself I'm getting ready to go, I got to go in again, man. Chief, come on. When you say you got to go, brother. You got to go. All right, check this out. Let me go back here for a second. Let me go back here. Check this out. Etymology of Doge. Why do you think Elon Musk was in place? Y'all think it's a coincidence? And he was called the Doge? I keep telling people, man, I know this. I've been doing this. Okay? I've been doing this. Check it out. I'm going to show you this before I get out of here. Let's rock. What does it say? What does it say? The Doge. Who was the Doge? Elon Musk. What's a Doge? The etymology. Guess what? A chief magistrate of the old republics of Venice and Genoa. Aren't we dealing with the Republican Party? The republics? The chief magistrate. So they put the Doge in place to put certain things in place, not even the Supreme Court, because he became the chief magistrate. Yep. Who do you think the first Republicans was? They came from Europe. They came from the British Empire, people. They were the first Republicans. The first Republicans were given authority to set up the 13 colonies on our land, people. They were people of color. Those black devils from Europe. Exactly. Y'all really think the pale man is the enemy, huh? Wait till the veil is lifted when they show their black faces. Anyway, man, I'm about to get out of here. I love y'all for real, man. Because like I said, this is just so much fun for me. It's fun. Because you see, when you know, you don't have to deal with belief systems. You dig. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the love, man. Gratitude. You know what I mean? I don't even monetize my channel, so I don't even know how I'm gonna get that, but I'll look into it. You dig? But with that being said, I want y'all to know I love y'all for real, man. I know a lot of people talk in the same way we had a meeting with our republic early, and I tell them, man, let me tell y'all something. I love my people, man. I love my people. But I got a special love for the people in our republic, because I know my ancestors sent me here for a purpose to restore our people. And I've been saying that for how long now? 2026, I'm still saying the same thing. My message has never changed. You dig? Never changed. And I keep telling y'all, the ancestors are going to show you who I am. And I keep telling y'all, I can't do it alone. We got a republic. Let's build a republic. Let's come together. Stuff is already in place. Let's make it happen. You feel me? My email is always. I'm like the easiest one to find, the easiest one to talk to. Out of everybody out there, go ask them. They'll tell you. Whenever I reach out to Chief, he's the only one I could talk to. You feel me? And exactly, truth holds its own. So thank you so much. May you guys continue to, rise in righteousness, and may our righteous ancestors continue to guide you in righteousness. You feel me? And I'm going to say this before I go. We don't have to hate people to be who we are. We don't have to disrespect people to be who we are. We don't have to degrade people to be who we are. Everything is going to come into fruition. The whole Greenland situation, pretty soon, that all of Greenland, that ice is going to melt. And you're going to see the North Gate open up to bring back the golden age. Didn't Trump talk about the golden age? I keep telling y'all, I know what's happening. I know what's going to happen. And in the golden age, there cannot be no type of evil. No. So all you people with your evil hearts, guess what? Imagine you spend all your life on earth and then you don't get to see heaven because you think heaven is in the sky. No, heaven is right here on earth, because y'all want to be evil and miserable and chaotic, not realizing that you are all this sacrifice that your I am made to be a prison in your flesh, and you are not going to experience heaven. Ain't that a blimp? Because you want to be evil. You want to be, you see what I'm saying? You want to be unrighteous. That's why I tell people, I stay walking in righteousness. I stay doing the right things. But I'm going to experience that heaven though. I promise you, I am. I'm ready for the golden age. Right now, why you think they still bombarding the skies with chemtrails? Because they know Mother Earth is warming up right now. And winters are supposed to be gone, my people, because winters aren't natural. They aren't natural. You dig? So Mother Earth is resetting herself. And the more we raise our vibrations, our frequency, the more we assist Mother Earth. But you cannot raise your frequency with evil and hate. You can't do that. You want to take us back into the abyss, but Mother Earth is not going to allow that. She would rather destroy you than she have you destroy her. It ain't happening. You feel me? So y'all could be whichever way you want. Treat people whichever way you want. I'm going to continue to treat people the way they treat me. Okay? Period. That's what I'm going to do. I don't play the color game. Y'all could keep playing the color game if y'all want. I don't play that. All right? So with that being said, enjoy the rest of your 24. And I thank y'all, and I'll see you on the next live. I did promise you I'm going to do the live with with Abraham Lincoln. So that's coming. I got you. I'm getting ready to head back on TikTok and do the same lesson I just did. I'm getting ready to go back on TikTok. The only difference is I'm gonna let them hear the video call, not the video call, but the phone call I had with the Cherokee Nation. I'm gonna let them hear it. You guys have it on YouTube, so you could always listen to it at leisure. All right. So I'm going to go to TikTok and I'm going to do the same lesson. So if you guys want to be on TikTok, let me put my my name on TikTok for y'all, so you could go ahead and follow me on TikTok. All right, American Flying Eagle. All right, that's I think I have the whole name Ra Elohim, but if not, you could just look for American Flying Eagle. I just put it in the chat. So look me up on what you call it on TikTok. All right, if you want to just hear it again, or just follow me on TikTok. You know what I mean? And then the YouTube, I just put that comment in there. That's the music page. All right, just so y'all know, so y'all can support the album. The Gospel album is coming up on February 6th. All right, and the Republic, literally, much of the proceeds is going to go to the Republic. So I am putting things in place that I'm not building my empire. I am building the Republic, and the Republic is going to be the empire. So like I said, let them do what they have to do. I know what I got to do to position our people. I've always known what to do, and I still do. And I'm going to say it again. I know how to restore our people. Send me an email, inquire how you could be a part of the Republic, and let's put in this work and do what needs to be done. You feel me? So enjoy the rest of your 24, and I will talk to you guys soon. Peace and love. Let me just put my my TikTok on the screen before I go, so people could actually see that. So just look it up on TikTok, either American Flying Eagle, or just hold on for a second. I think I was supposed to put the whole thing. Hold on for a second. But either way, it might come up. All right. So hold on. Right. All right. So that is the whole name. So either parts of that will come up, and either way, you'll be able to find me on TikTok. So go ahead and follow me on there. All right. So let me put it on the big screen, so at least people will have that. There you go. All right. Cool. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your evening. All right. Thank you. Peace and love.